What's up everybody? So welcome back to another tutorial. So in this video, I'm going to explain you about the Flutter tutorial where we are going to cover the Hive. So Hive is basically the local storage database which help us to save the data. And if I just make a very small video on it where you can learn about how we can add the data. And this is the form which consists of only two fields, title and the descriptions. And once the data is uploaded successfully, we can list them inside the listings, and as well as we can swipe the data, we can delete the data, and you see that the to-do listing is empty. So I'm going to cover everything from the scratch. So first see the demo how things are going to work. So let's go into the add to-do listing. I also apply here the validation, and let's add here the title one. So I'm going to write only here title one, and this is my description, something that spellings are wrong, so but it doesn't matter. So you see here now the data is listed right on a screen, and this is basically the permanent storage. So if I just try to refresh this, and the data remain the same inside our the emulator, right? So that's all, guys. And the last thing I forget is that, yeah, we can delete the data, and there we see the to-do listing is empty. All right, so that's what we're gonna build right from the scratch, from the installation. So let's jump in and get started here. All right, guys, so welcome back here. Let's create here the Flutter project. So all I need to do is to Flutter create, and the name of the project, which in my case should be Hive_test. All right, so this is gonna create a very fresh copy of our Flutter project. So let's cd into the Hive project, and I need to go and cd into Hive_test, and let's open up with the VS Code, and all I need is code and the space dot. Alright, so now it's open up inside our VS Code, and let's first install the dependencies that are required. So there are the dependencies that you need to do is to install. Let's go step by step here, and I already open up the repository, which is basically a static, just the screens. I'm gonna put that link in the description so you can follow along with that, right? So let's first start with the Hive, and what actually is Hive, and I actually need to type here Hive for Flutter, and let's go. And Hive is basically a lightweight and very fast key value database. All right, so this is a very basic example. I'm gonna go all the steps that are there, but I'm gonna explain things in the coding section. But just for the brief, that in order to initialize your Hive box, all you need to do is to define Hive.box and give it the name, which is in that case, which is my box. And let's give it the key and the value by the help of box.put. And in order to get the name, all I need is, if I print that name, this is going to give me the data. All right, so we can also work with the store objects, which can, you see here, we can extend the Hive object, which includes the Hive field and also the Hive type, which in that case type ID always have the index 0, and with the depending on the fields that we have, the more the index value can be add up down to it. All right, so down here you see we can also use the constructor, and we can add it as a person, and with the help of save we can save the data. So that's all the step that we can follow up down here, and that's the benchmark. You see here that it has a very significant performance in reading the data, and as compared to the other SQLite, right? So it's very fast as far as the execution time is concerned. All right, so that's really much it. Let's go into the installation, and we can follow all the steps down there, right? So first thing that I'm going to do is flutter pub add hive, and let's grab this one and go into your terminal, which I already opened up the dependency file. That's where the dependencies are going to save. And let's flutter pub add hive. Next, I need here Hive_flutter. All right, so let's define here Hive_flutter. I'm going to go through with all, and just for now, let's just simply add the dependencies, as simple as that. Let's grab this one and add right up there, and let's look for another dependency. We also need something which is known as the Hive_generator, which can generate the Hive adapter file for us. So we can see all in a while. Just Hive_generator. Actually it should be generator, something like that. All right, so let's go into the Hive_generator. Let's go into the installing and grab this one and paste it right into your terminal, And let's look for the last, which is basically build underscore runner, which will help us to generate the files for us. So build underscore runner, and it's a very useful package for generating the files, which can save a lot of time for us. So we can see that as well. So let's add the command for this one, and into your terminal, simply press enter, and that's all. Alright, so let's go inside your lib and the main.dot file. I need nothing here, and inside lib I'm going to create here a folder with the name of screens, and we are going to create a list as well. So to do underscore list underscore screen dot, and I'm going to create here another file, which should be add underscore to do underscore screen dot. All right, so very simple steps. So I'm gonna go into my main.dot file. That's where you can see the entry point file. So I'm gonna create here a stateless widget, and inside stateless widget, let's give it the name of my app. And basically, this is the extension that I've installed. I've gone through all the steps, but just for now, you could see here. Let me type here Flutter, and you see here the two extensions has been installed, which is the Flutter and awesome Flutter snippets, right? So that's how useful they are. And now I'm going to import that with the help of material.dart, and let's go into the material app. So I'm going to define here material app, and right into it I'm going to define some properties, which is basically debug show check mode banner should be false. You see a banner on the top the right. I'm going to show you. So that's where is the, and now I need here a theme as well. So let's define here theme data, and I need here primary swatch, and let's give it here the color dot it should be deep purple. It looks good actually. Right, so next we have to define here the home, and actually I need my home screen to be the listing screen. So let's create that a stateful widget. I don't need to create here a stateless widget. That should be a stateful widget that will return the state. So that's a major difference between the stateless widget is something that will not change, but stateful widgets are widget which where the state changes, right? So that's the major, the most basic difference. So to do, let's give it the name of to do list screen. All right, just like that, I need to import the material.dot file, and into my home I'm gonna give it the main screen to be to do list screen, which must have the title, which I haven't defined yet here. So let's define the title. I'm gonna define final string title, and right up here I'm gonna define required this dot title. All right, so that's fine. Let me check something here. It shows something required string title. Yeah, I need to define here as well. So let's define the to do and give it the name of to do listings. All right, so as simple as that, right? So let's go into your to do listing screen, and let me check what actually shows. So required this dot title, and I just need to check why it's showing as the message. Yeah, I need to actually bring here the parentheses, right? So that's it. So let's go into the widget build, and I'm going to create here an app bar, and I'll just see how our UI looks. So let's go into it and define here scaffold, and let's go the scaffold, and inside here I'm going to create here an app bar, and inside app bar let's define here the very basic title. So title, and make sure it should be the stateful widget in order to access the widget dot title, and let's make things into the center. So this is basically something which I'm creating a UI. If you want to directly move into the Hive, I want to give that link in the description. All the screens, static screens are there. You can follow along right after that if you want. So that should be the center title. And now right after here, I need to create here the container. So let's create here the body, and inside body I'm going to create here a container widget, and let me define here the child, and inside child let's give it the list view list view dot builder. And inside List Viewer Builder, I'm going to define here some major properties. So that should be item builder, which should have the context and the index, and context and the index. Right after there, I'm going to define here the that's going to return the list title. Right, so this list title should have the title. For now, I just want to give the title of title, because this all is the static data, and we need to give it the subtitle as well, and give it the description for now. All right, so that looks fine. And yes, I need to define here something which is known as the item count. And the reason why, because this should be there. I just want to make the code indented. That's fine. And right after the item builder, I need to define something which is known as the list viewer builder. All right, that's fine. And let me give here the item count. So that should be, let's give it 6 results, right? So this is gonna display 6 times the title and the description, which is basically the static data. So all I need to do is to go inside my main.dot file, and I need to open up my emulator. So let's open up the emulator. I have 2, and I choose one of them. So as long as it's open, let's go into the main.dot file, and you can run the code either, or you can start debugging, right? I just select the start debugging mode, and if I go to my debug console, you see here, it's gonna launching my main.dot file. All right, so that's fine. So it should, yeah, getter not found main. Okay, so yeah, I need to define here, if I go to my main.dart file, and I need to define here the main entry point file, which is the void main, and let's define here the main file, which is the my app. So run the application, and let's run the my app, right? That's it. And I'm going to refresh this again. So let me stop it and run that again. All right, so that's fine. So like add underscore to do dot dart screen, this is basically the form that you see that I already have explained with the validation in my one of the video. I want to give that link in the description so you guys could follow along. So let me go to the repository just to save some time. I'm still going to explain you, but if you want to learn more, you can watch that video. So I'm going to go to my this Hive static screen tutorial. So let's go into add underscore to do. So I just need to simply grab this all, and I need to paste it right up here. So basically this is all I have explained in my one of the video. I've done nothing here, no any Hive concept, all is just the form and with the validation. So you see here we created here a stateful widget. We define here the state of the form state, like just like that. And right after the form state, we define here the form widget with the form key, which is basically passed to the form state. And right inside the text form field, we have the label, we have the validator, and if that value is null and the value length is 0, we set that to be returned. We return that it should be a required field. Same case right here. And on the on pressed, where we have defined the add to do button, which is the elevated button widget. So let's go into the validated, what actually it does. So if the form key of the current state is null and it's not validated, then if it's not null and if it's validated, we just print that the form should be validated. And on the other case, it should print that the form is not validated. So that's basically the very basic the UI for the add underscore to do, which I have already created, and I'm just waiting that it's taking a lot much time. Yeah, now I think so it's very much close to the output. All right, so it's now launched, and if I go to the screen, you see here we have 6 required. We have title in the description displayed 6 times with a listing, right? So down here I need to create here the button for where we can a floating action button where we click and it's gonna navigate us to the form which we just added from the repository. And now I also need to remove that, like we have to create here a widget which is known as dismissible right after that. Let's first create here a floating action button. So all I need is to go to my to-do list icon and let's create a floating action button. So right after the body ending, I need to create here a floating action button, and let's give it a floating action button. This should contain the tooltip. Let's define that and give it the name of add to do. Oops, actually should be in the single quotes. And I also need to define an icon. So let's give it the icons dot add, and right after here I need to give here I need to create here on pressed. Once I press this one, let's add that one, the navigator that dot push. That should be navigator with the N capital, navigator dot push, and let's define the context, and the route should be material page route, and the builder should have the context, and I'm going to define here the screen which name of add to do screen. Alright, as simple as that. We define everything. Let's do that. Actually I need to indent my code so you guys could see properly. Alright, so that's how it looks. Let's hard reload it and see how it looks. Alright, so now we have the very to-do listing, and let's go into right up here, and you see now we have the form with the validations are working. You see on down here the form not validated. We haven't defined any value. As long as I define something here, and if I click add validated, you see the form is now validated. We can go back and forth. And last thing that I need here is a dismissible widget. So let's go to our to do in underscore list, which we are already in. And here, let's define here the dismissible widget. So all I need here is, let me indent my code first. Okay, it looks better. So right inside the list view.builder, where I have returned the list title, let me cut this out for now, for this moment, and I need to define here the dismissible widget for now. So return dismissible, and this dismissible should have the key and the child. So let's first define here the unique key. So basically this pertains to that if I need to delete a specific list, so this is going to have the unique key to delete that, and right inside the child I need to define here the list title, right? So what I have just copied, I need to remove that return, which we don't need it now, and just remove this one, and let's bring up right here, and there we go. All right, so this is the dismissible, and inside dismissible I need to give it the background, which should be in the red color. Let's put that inside the container, and I'm going to define here the color should be of red. So colors dot, actually it should be colors dot red. All right, so it looks very fine. So we define that, and that should be the key that we define. We also have something which is known as on dismiss. So basically this is the direction that we need to delete. So just make it simple. Let's give it the direction, and make, for now just make this empty, and let's hot reload it. And now if I just try to swipe left or right, so this is going to remove it from the list. But basically this is not the permanent, we haven't stored it in the local storage. This is something which is basically, if I just refresh this, so all the listing will be appear again, right? So that's the very basic gist of the UI section. And let's move into the next section where we will create a model and we define the Hive. And let's take a little break for now, and I will be right back. Alright guys, so let's up to the point, let's create here a model. So let's work with the models in order to interact with the Hive. Alright, so I'm going to create here a model with the name of todo dot dot. So right now we have only title and the description. So let's gonna define here the class of todo, and we are working with the Hive object. So let's define here Hive object, and right inside here I'm going to define here the Hive type as well. So as I explained, whenever we are working with the IDs, we have to define here something which is known as the Hive type, which is the type ID, and that should always be 0, right? And we need to define here the package for the Hive. So let's gonna import that right up here. So import and package colon Hive slash Hive dot dot, right? And next we need to do, actually it should have no semicolon, and if I go right inside here, let's define the Hive field. So first we have here the index of 0, and I need to define here the string of ID. And same here, I need to grab this one and let's paste 2 more times. So this should be for 1, and let's define here the string, final string title. So that should be final string title. And same case for here, that should be final string description. That should be 2. Alright, so that's fine. And let's define here the constructor. So required this dot title, and same case for required this dot description. Right, so we are done with the Flutter model, and the Todo model is completed. All is showing some error. Yeah, I just need to bring here the semicolon, and let's indent this code, and looks fine, right? So we need to import something which is known as the generator file. That's, you see here, the package that we imported inside my pubspec.yml. And when you're working with the Hive, you are working with the Hive adapter. So that's where it will generate the file, and this will generate the adapter first. We need to encode or decode the Hive into the binary object. So that's why we use the Hive generator. So this is going to generate the adapter, and with the help of build_runner, we are going to generate the file. So that's basically the two main purposes of adding these two dependencies, Hive generator and the dev dependency, which is the build_runner, right? So I hope you guys will understand further. Let's create here the command to run to generate the file, but first I need to here define here the pod, and let's give it the name of todo.g for generate, and let's give it the dot file, right, extension. The let's define the command Flutter packages prob run. Let's define the here build_runner and build. So let's run this command, and this is gonna generate the file for us. So just guys could see just now. I don't think so it's takes so much time. And once it generate, we have to also define here the box. That's where we can create the Hive box. So let's create that right inside the lib, and I'm gonna create here the file with the name of let's give it the name of boxes dot dot. Oops, it should be boxes dot dot. Alright, so you see here we have generate the file successfully, and now if I go to the Hive object and you see here this generate the file for us, which include the box space and some save methods, the delete methods, and you see here some kind of other objects are there which are very useful. And let's go to the todo.generate.dart file, and that's where we can see here is the to-do adapter. That's what I explained. So this is gonna with the help of to-do adapter, we are able to import that and use the Hive box. So let's go inside the main.dart file, and that's where we have to define our adapter. So let's right after the void main, that's where I have run the app, and first make this async. All right, and right after that I'm gonna define here await hive dot initialize flutter. Now you see here we have to import the hive. Let's import the hive, and this initialize hive initialize flutter, with the help of hive underscore flutter we can import that. So let's define here import. So package hive underscore flutter and hive underscore flutter dot. All right, so simple as that. That's work. And next I need to define here open box. And before I should go direct to the open box, that's you see here inside lib, I have created here a file with the name of the boxes.dart, and that's where I'm going to explain my box. So let's define right here. So I need to create here a class of Hive boxes. So static string, oops, actually should be right inside here, static string to do and equal to, you can give that directly into the main file, but just to make things very much organized, I've created here a separate file for the box. Right, so that's where we have defined our box name to do underscore box, and I need to define right in here, we need to register the adapter. So just like we define here hive boxes dot to do, and this is something which is basically coming from the boxes.dart file. Right, so it should be hive, and I need to define here register adapter. Sorry about that. That should be the to-do adapter that is just generated with the help of the Flutter Hive adapter, right? Hive underscore Flutter. Next, we have to define Hive dot open the box, which we just defined with the name of the Hive boxes dot to do, which is basically the file. Just that's what we just created. You can directly give the name here, or you can just access like that. And I also need to define here the model, which should be to do. All right, so that's fine for now, and I think so this should be, yeah, this should be await, async await. Right, so let's define that all set for now, and we need to close the hive. So let's define the dispose method inside the to-do list. So right after the widget build, we need to define here dispose. So for some memory leak, so let's define hive dot close, and that's it. And we need to import the hive package, and there we are, right? So that's it for the initializing the hive, and now let's go into the add underscore to do screen to add the to dos. So I need to go right here and just underneath that and define here the method with the name of void underscore on form submit, and this form submit should have the box. Let's define here the to-do model, and I need to import the hive, and as well as I need to import the model, right? So box to do, and let's give it the name of hive or to do box equal to the, remember that should be the camel case, and hive dot box, and we have to define here the name which we just created, which is the hive box dot to do, and same here we need to define our model, which is the to do. Alright, so next we have to define that to-do box. We need to add the data inside it. So dot add, and let's define here the to-do, and that pertains the title and the description that we need to add. And remember, on top I have comment this one, so just want to uncomment this out, title and the description, that's fine. And next we have to pop it, so the pop method will navigator. So navigator dot of context dot pop. All right, so if you just hover on it, you could see that the current route method is called first. If the method returns false, then the route remains in the navigator history. So that's the main purpose of using it. Just I need to call this function when the form is submitted. So that's where I have defined, and the last thing that we need to do is to set the state for each specific value. Whenever there is a change in the text field, we have to get the title and the description of each specific field. So let's go inside the decoration and define here on changed, and let's give it get the value of it with the help of title equal to value. And same here in case for the description, I need to actually its description. I'm already inside for changing for the description. Now I want to change for my title, which should be after decoration, and that is for the title. All right, so that's great. And the last thing that I need, I just want to print this out just to confirm that we get the box. So let's to do box, and I need to hot reload it. And now if I go to back to the screen, and let's press the navigator, and let's give it here the title and test description, something like that. If I click on the add to do, and you see it pop to the listing screen, that is great. And we get the instance of the box implementation, and the form is validated, right? So that means now we are able to add the data inside the local storage of Hive. And next thing that I'm going to do is to work with the to-do listing screen, that once the data is successfully submitted, it should show the data, the real data that we enter, it should display to the screen. And let's take a break for a while, and I will be right back. Alright guys, so up to this point you see we have covered up how we can save the data and inside the local storage, and now the next part is that how we can delete the data and display the data once the data is saved inside the local storage. So we are left with the two major functionalities, so let's jump into it. So we have our to-do underscore list screen already open, and here I'm going to define something which is known as Value Listenable Builder. So this Value Listenable Builder help us to notify whenever there is a change of data. It will notify it to its listener. So let's go into our body, and I need to remove that container. So now for now we don't need that. So I'm going to remove this widget, and let's wrap with widget which is known as Value Listenable Builder. So this Value Listenable Builder comprises of Value Listenable, which actually includes the Hive. So hive.box, and we have to define that name, which is basically Hive boxes.todo, and let's define here dot listenable. So this method will not access directly. We need to define here Hive Flutter on the top, and also define that model right after the hive.box. So let's define here Hive underscore Flutter. So let's import that. So import package Hive underscore Flutter slash Hive underscore Flutter dot. All right. Now if I try to access the listen label method, I'm able to call it, right? So that's fine. And now next I need to go to the builder, and this builder contains the context and as well as the box. So I'm going to define that into it, box to do, and we have to give it name of box, and let's define the underscore. All right, so that's the major parameters that we can pass inside the builder. Let's define the Hive, and now I need to go right into it. If we have to apply here the condition, if that is, if the box value is empty, so box dot values dot is empty, that means that we have no data. So let's return to the center when we are going to use here a widget inside the center which contains child, and let's give it the to do listing is empty. So to do listing is empty. And on the other case, right after the if condition, to grab this list view dot builder child, and I need to cut this out. I cut this out, and once this condition ends here, this if condition ends right here, so I need to define right after it. Right now I don't need child, we need to return the list view dot builder. So just define here list view, and we have to add here, we need to end the list view builder. All right, now we need to add here the data which is coming dynamic. So rather we should have item count 3. I need to define here box dot values dot length. So it should have some specific length for the item count, and right inside the item count we already are getting context and the index. So let's rightly define here to do. If that response is coming, so I need to define here res for response, and we have to get the data with the help of box.getAdd method and get the index of it. Means that we have the listing index, and let's add in the title and the description. So I need to remove this for now. Let's define if there's some title, show that, and just to add the title, and same case for the description. All right, so for now we don't need that, and let's hot reload it. And if I just go back and see, now you see that we are actually getting the data. Now if I go back here and if I add something, let's add something here and something right here, the description, I click on the add to do, and now you see we are actually getting the 3 results, right? So now we are able to see, we were able to add the data and show results to the listings. Now we need to remove this data from here. It's now very simple. So all I need to do is to go on my onDismiss method, and let's define a res.delete. So this method will help us to remove the data from it. So and this unique key will help us to, each list must have a unique key so we can delete it, right? So let's go and hot reload it, and if I tries to delete the data, let's delete the 2 results, and if I refresh it, and you see now we only have 1 result. So let's add one more time. So title of my test data, and let's add test description, and if I try to add the to do, and there we are. And if I tries to delete this and refresh my data, and I hope everything is working fine, right? So that's it for this complete video. I hope you guys learned something out of it. Yes, we haven't defined any added functionality for now, but we will define in the coming videos. For the very basic, I just explained things in a very cleaner way, that how we can work with different widgets like Value Listenable Widgets. We learn about Dismissible, and we learned about how we can add the data with the help of Hive. So that's it, guys. I hope you like and love this video. Please share and subscribe my channel, and I want to see you for the next time.